If you watched last week's review on Lian Li's new AIO, I hinted that I wanted to use it in a build for a case review. Well, it's finally time to make that happen. Hey there, what's going on? I'm Danny from DTC. If this is your first time here, I frequently talk about hardware reviews, PC builds, and sometimes do how-to videos too. As I said in the intro, this is what I'm going to be doing my review on today. This is Lian Li's new Lancool II Mesh ATX case. This is a follow-up to Lian Li's Lancool series case. They had another one designed that they had a different mesh type of front panel. It just had two little mesh filters on the sides. They actually lowered the price of that one after this case came out because this case is so phenomenal. Just a little sneak peek. So as far as an overview of the case goes, this case is on the larger side. It has a glass front and rear hinged panel to it. It's ventilated pretty much everywhere, and it's extremely modular. I'd say that's probably the best selling point of this case is you can maneuver things around to accommodate bigger radiators, bigger motherboards, more hard drives, and just an enormous amount of fans in this case. It comes in 3 variants. They have a Mesh Performance version, which comes in at $100, but it's on sale on Newegg right now if you click the link below for $89.99. Then they have a Mesh RGB version, which comes in black and white. The black one comes in at $100, and the white one comes in at $104.99. The black one, which I have here, is currently sold out on Newegg, but keep an eye on the stock because they've been coming in and going out just as fast. So let's take a closer look at the case. I'll give you some nice zoomed in shots and I'll talk about all the awesome features that this thing has. So beginning from the left side of the case, which I'm going to call this the left side because if you look at the case from the front, this would be on your left. And this is the view window where everyone can see all the cool components and stuff like that. This has magnetic hinge doors on it that you can actually swing open. Then it also has magnetic bottom hinge doors as well. The one on the view side window has mesh ventilated bottom here. The one on the cable management side is not ventilated. Now, like I said, the bottom mesh front panel here is ventilated to allow airflow to your power supply and then up to your graphics card. It has these awesome little foam pads that they've included now, which the first Lancool series did not have, just to kind of cushion the magnetics when it hits the case here, because it will positively lock when you swing it in. If you look to the front here, it also has 3 hot swappable drive bays for 3.5-inch hard drives, or you can also fit 2.5 SSDs as well. You can also see here there is tons of space for a power supply. You can fit an extremely long power supply, a ton of extra cables. There are also 2 removable 120mm covers for fan and SSD mounting. Now, if you put the fans on there, you want to take that cover off, obviously, to mount the fan to it. But the ventilated covers do allow airflow if you decide not to run fan. Lastly, on the front section here, your motherboard pass-through for the power cables and stuff for your motherboard is swappable. You can actually undo these 2 top screws on here, spin this around, and then you can fit an eATX board. eATX is a weird design because there's no standard to it. So one motherboard manufacturer could say they have eATX and they could have a 260mm board, or another one could have a 280mm and then it wouldn't fit. So check your motherboard compatibility before purchasing the case. Make sure it's going to fit in here. But it is neat that you could swap it around if you decide to buy a wider board later on. Moving on to the front, which is the intake side, you have 3 120mm RGB fans on my case variant. The performance version has 2 120mm fans and 1 rear exhaust fan. The bracket that holds these fans in is what they're calling their multi-way fan and radiator bracket. You can actually remove that completely out of the case, mount your fans to it, or mount your radiator and fan combo, and then put it back in. And it's adjustable. It can come forward and backwards. There's different mounting points to it. There's also a removable shroud cover on the power supply shroud. It allows you to use either 55mm of clearance or 110mm of clearance, depending on how deep your radiator is if you want to front mount that radiator. The front radiator combo can fit 360mm, it can fit a 280mm, or it can even fit a 120mm setup, 240. So lots of versatility on the front panel if you want to use that radiator spot. Onto the right side of the case, this is your cable management side. This is where everything gets hidden at. You have 2 metal plates underneath the glass swinging door. Like I said before, the glass door swings open and the bottom flip panel flips down. Now, both of these glass panels are removable I didn't say that on the front side, but you can actually swing the glass panel open and then slide it up off of its hinges very easily and discard it to the side so that you can work around your case and do all your install. Under the top right cover is the mounting plate for the removable fan and LED hub, which you can move it from the left side as shown or the right side. It's able to mount in 2 different locations, which is kind of neat because then you can access all your back motherboard mounting. If you look down below that, there are 2 2.5-inch mounts under that are visible through the glass panel. So if you decide you want to show off some of your SSDs, you can actually see that through the glass rear panel after you put these covers back on. And finally, there are 2 2.5 mounts on the hinge door as well. The 3.5-inch drive cage can slide forward or backward with 1 screw. This is really nice, a nice feature, because some of the other cases I've looked at, they do have movable mounting trays, but you have to undo a screw that's deep in the back of the shroud and one in the front. Being able to move it on the fly like that is not as easy. This is just that 1 screw, and then the whole thing will slide back and forth on the channel. So you can either give yourself more room for the radiator in the front, or you can give yourself more room for the power supply and all of its cables. This case has 2 Velcro mounting straps already installed on it, and then if you look in your little bag of accessories, it has 2 more Velcro mounting straps in case you decide to guide these cables different directions. And there's a lot of tie down areas that you can install those straps into. So once again, versatility is key with this thing. It gives you a lot of options as far as how you want to lay this out. And finally, the top panel. The top panel I/O is placed in an excellent location because you can see here, you can remove your front panel without the I/O coming off with it. In my personal rig, I actually run the Meshify C from Fractal Design, and when I rip off that front panel, the I/O comes along with it. So all your cables are still snaked into your case, and it kind of makes it difficult to take that off and clean things if you want to do it quick and easy. So I really appreciate that from Lian Li. Nice job. The button layout is from left to right. You have the C, which is color for your RGB. You have M for mode, which is, it runs on 8 different modes. If you run it to the 8th mode slot, that allows you to control your RGB through the motherboard. You have your reset button, your power button, and your combo headphone and microphone jack. And then you have 2 USB 3.0 connectors. On the far right side, my case came with a rubber cover on this section. Mine came with a USB-C 3.1 connector cable that you can install. It's an optional thing, but Lian Li included it on release day. I think they should have included it from the factory, already pre-installed, already set up. It seems really empty having nothing there, and a lot of cases nowadays have this Type-C connector already installed. So Lian Li's a little behind the curve on that. I'm glad they included it with me, but you can see here, I've already installed mine and I'm ready to go, and it looks super clean. It was a very easy install. They give you the exact instructions. So if you're looking to get this case, I would pick up that USB-C connector no matter what. So that's the walk around of the case. You've seen all the little spots and crevices and everything like that. I tried to give you the best look of it that I could. Let's move on to actually building in this thing, and I'll give you my thoughts on how this whole process went about, so when you're building, you know what to look out for.
I'm not gonna be there for you, 'cause you were never there for me. Don't go ask me what you did wrong. Ignorance will never see. No, wasn't it for me? Why don't you just let it be? I gave you 1, 2, and 3. Time's not wasting my good. Cause you're not on your knees. What's in it for me? What's in it for me?
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that quick build montage. I think the case and the build turned out awesome. If you have any questions about what parts I used in this build, you can check it out in the description below. I'll leave links to all the parts and everything like that. Something else I wanted to point out to you that I didn't say at the beginning, Lian Li offers so many optional accessories for this thing. It's really neat. It's so expandable. Like I said, they've got a whole package here. Some of the accessories that they offer, you can check them out on their website. I'll leave a link for that website on the description. Some of the accessories are a vertical GPU mount, a side diffuser LED strip, which goes behind the quick snap door here, a hot swappable back plate for your hard drive cages so that you can pull them out while your system is on, a 3.1 Type-C cable, as I showed earlier that I've already installed, and an anti-sag GPU bracket. Build quality-wise, this thing is really nice. I mean, the fit and finish of it is good. The glass is beautiful. Lian Li's selling point on this is the modularity. Like I said, like I keep saying in this video, there is so many options for you. You have the radiator support in the front as far as being able to create more or less space. You have the swappable motherboard tray to be able to get eATX boards, fan mounting all over the place. It's got radiator support for the top and the front, as you could see in my build. And the cable management is tremendous. I mean, you've got channels all over the place, tie downs. It's got those two steel brackets. Yeah, they're metal. And they mount to cover all of your cable channels. And then the bottom obviously flips up to hide that as well. So even if you do a crappy job like I did with cable management, you could still make this thing look good. Two small issues I had with the case while I was building, and this is just little nitpicky things. It really didn't affect anything. And my rear glass panel that covers your cables and everything sags a little bit. So when I went to close it, it actually got hung up on the bottom section here. It just didn't align with the edges of the case real well, so I had to pick up on the glass to close it all the way to get it to magnetically seal. Another thing is that the cable management covers, if your cables bulk out too much, like you didn't get them flush enough with the section, because you've got a lot of cables, as you could see, running up through there. You have all the power supply cables, fan cables, motherboard cables, RGB cables. I mean, it's just cables galore. That cover will not go on properly. So you've got to get your cables kind of smashed down before you try to install that cover, because it's only held together with the slides and the one screw on the side there. So just be prepared to be able to get that cover smashed down so that you can close everything up properly. It's just a tedious process. But if you want to know how to do any kind of cable management techniques or anything that I use in any of my in-depth builds, I did a cable management video, and I'll put a link up here so you can cable manage like a pro. Or you can check out my playlists with builds that I've done in the past so you can get some ideas for your next build.